What's up, guys? Go back to our video. And last night we got the second trailer, the official trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was amazing. It looked so good. We actually saw the villains, the Sinister Five, not the Sinister Six, and that Spider-Man is gonna get some awesome suit upgrades, and probably the villains gonna get some upgrades in this movie as well. And the trailer really sets the tone for what we could expect in this movie, like kind of like a dark tone. And so it was so like a fast paced and first of all, and it was dark. Otherwise, guys, I mean the trailer was like so good, and there's some Easter eggs in the trailer as well. Also, some references from my previous Spider-Man movies as well. So in this video, this will be my breakdown for the official trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, going over the Easter eggs and details, and also some references to some previous Spider-Man movies as well. So let's get into it. So the trailer starts with Peter talking to MJ on the phone, obviously FaceTime here, and he's saying that ever since he got bitten by that spider, he only had 1 week when life was completely normal, and that's when you found out, that's when MJ found out, and what he's referring to is the events that happened in Spider-Man Far From Home, and the final battle between Spider-Man versus Mysterio, and that time with Peter and MJ on the bridge, and then when MJ sort of figured out Peter's identity as Spider-Man. And we also see that Peter is out in the rain, probably in tears, so like, I mean, the trailer started like a pretty dark. Next, we see Spider-Man and MJ falling from what looks to be the bridge from one of the race's stills, and we see them swinging into the train tunnel, the train station, and we see them swinging from the train as it's almost about to hit them. So from what I could tell, like, they're like swinging away from, like, this is happening like right after the Spider-Man Far From post-credit scene where everyone figures out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that like Spider-Man's identity was just revealed by Mysterio. So yeah, with this, like, Spider-Man and MJ are trying to get away from the crowd, as like a police and helicopters were like surrounding them, and then at the jump to like get away or swing away. Next, we hear Doctor Strange saying that when you botch a spell to make sure that everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors from other universes. So what it's referring to is a spell that Peter and Doctor Strange did in the last trailer to make sure that everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. They started getting some visitors from other universes. So, and what I mean is like visitors is the villains from the other universes, from Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man universes with the villains. Next, we see more of the bridge sequence between Spider-Man and Doc Ock, with Doc Ock saying "Hello, Peter" from the last trailer, and we see more of the bridge fight between Spider-Man and Doc Ock. And the next thing we hear Doc Ock saying is that you ain't Peter Parker. And this is because he knows Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe, because it's Doc Ock, but he doesn't know Tom Holland's Peter Parker. And so what this means that Tobey Maguire is in this movie, but we didn't see him in the trailer, but he's definitely in the movie. But like he's referring to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, because Doc Ock is from a different universe, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe. Then we see Peter and then MJ talking to Doc Ock, and what looks like to be the prison that's gonna keep all the villains inside, because they were brought from each universes. And with a fun line with Peter saying what's your name again, and Doc Ock answers with his name is Dr. Otto Octavius. And then Peter says, "Oh no, what's your real name?" But because they never believed that like Otto Octavius was a real name, his name is Doc Ock. And we see that the prison is definitely taking place in the sanctum, probably in like the basement of the sanctum. And then the Doctor Strange says that there are more out there, and we need to send them back. And he says Scooby-Doo this crap, and what he's referring to that they need to get the villains back into other universes from the moment it died. So the purpose of this movie was the villains like brought back from each other universes from the moment they die. And what was referring to as Scooby-Doo, what was the gang trying, because that the Scooby-Doo gang captures ghosts and monsters and trying to bring them back into their universes. So and then that Scooby-Doo reference was like a funny reference to bring into this trailer. Then we see Peter wearing the black and gold suit, but it's going to be integrated with like a mystical magic from what we saw from one of the toy promotions from the Funko Pops. And with this, it's probably will be like like a suit like integrated with like mystical magic, and this will probably be the suit that is going to be made by Doctor Strange, but it's going to have some mystical magic in it to probably help fight the villains. Next we see is Electro, and then next we see J. Jonah Jameson from the Daily Bugle, and notice that he's in the same outfit that I wore in the final battle from Spider-Man 3 when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was fighting Sandman and Topher Grace's Venom, and this like the same outfit which he's gonna wear in this movie. So which was pretty nice to see J. Jonah Jameson. Next, we hear Doctor Strange saying to Peter that these villains like all died of fighting Spider-Man, and what he's referring to is all the previous Spider-Man movies, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, when they were fighting all the villains, and the villains died in the hands of Spider-Man, and he says it's their fate, and then like Peter doesn't want to send them back into their universe. So Peter grabs the cube, and then Doctor Strange is trying to prevent this, and then he grabs Peter, and then he punches him into the astral form from what we saw in the previous trailer. And with the cube, it's a mystical artifact. It's the key that keeps the villains in the prison from what we just saw in the Sanctum in the trailer. And within this moment, I think this is going to be the moment where Peter and Doctor Strange fight, so that Peter and Doctor Strange aren't going to get along in this movie, because with like Peter asking the Doctor Strange to do a spell that's like completely dangerous against the Wong's orders to make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, meaning like Peter and Doctor Strange are gonna be like, you know, enemies and not like friends, and that's why they're gonna be fighting, and that's along with like the train scene, as well as they're gonna be fighting on the train as well, as we saw the trains duplicating. Then Doctor Strange says that they're a danger to our universe, which means like the villains and their second here in the MCU are more dangerous. And then we get a first look at Electro in the MCU with Spider-Man No Way Home, and from what we can tell, like what it looks like, they're going with a more comic accurate Electro from the Marvel comics, and the lighting is a green and yellow, a more comic accurate lighting Electro, because in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 the lighting was more blue. And Spider-Man No Way Home, they're making his look, his design more comic accurate. And as we get a first look at Electro in the MCU and how it looks, we can see that in the middle it might be an arc reactor. So within these new suits that these villains are upgrading to, they might be using a nanotech as part of Stark's, you know, technology, as we saw the nanotech suit in Infinity War. And within these villains, they might get upgraded suits with the nanotech, but because we can see in Doc Ock's tentacles, it is a little bit red inside. So it's probably could be a nanotech in the MCU in the Spider-Man movie, as the villains are going to be having upgraded suits with nanotech. Then we hear from the voice from none other than Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, saying to Peter that you're struggling to have everything you want while the world is trying to make you choose. And what he means by that is that this is making Peter's life much harder now that everyone knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that his life is ruined because everyone knows that he is Spider-Man. And he's trying to go to Doctor Strange to erase the minds of everyone to make sure that they forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and the world is trying to make him choose either he wants to live his life as like a normal average high school kid, or as a superhero and Avenger Spider-Man. And then we get a first look at Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin in the MCU in Spider-Man No Way Home. And from what we tell by his comment from his suit, this is probably from like the same one from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies from Spider-Man 1. And with the suit, like this is probably the song from the other Spider-Man No Way Home posters as well. And then the trailer continues with on May and Happy as we see them, and we see Happy surrounded by a SWAT team, and it'll probably like die in this movie, but we'll never know. But like we all know that like someone like close to Peter might die, and we also see on May riding through like a building. This will probably be like the fee center of what we saw in the last trailer, with Peter in his black and gold suit like running through the fee center, which on May does like volunteer in the fee center, because in the Marvel comics, because I think like Miles and Aunt May volunteer at the fee center, which is like the homeless shelter. Then we get our first look at the villains, which is Sandman, Electro, and the Lizard, because from the last trailer, they teased them, and we got our first look at the villains. And we can tell that Spider-Man and is the villains in this battle. And also in this fight scene where Spider-Man is fighting all the villains, and with the Lizard, and like not even like fighting like towards, not going towards Spider-Man, and in fact, they're not even going towards him. And we see what the villains like Lizard like being punched. This is like from the Brazilian trailer from this, and we can tell like Toby and Andrew are in this final battle, but like there's like all like cut out from on the trailer, but maybe it was just an editing mistake. And then we see the most emotional scene in this trailer with like MJ falling to her death, and from right before she falls, we can see that an arm is on a pole. This is probably referring to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from that leak that happened like a couple months ago, where he was standing on that scaffolding talking to the other Spider-Man. So this trailer just confirmed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire just by like a few editing mistakes that the trailer made, and then we see MJ falling to her death, an exact reference from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Gwen Stacy falling to her death, and we see like Spider-Man trying to reach out for MJ's hand, but we see like for a quick second the hand is blue and red, and it just means like this could be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saving MJ from falling to her death instead of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which we'll really like to see. Then the trailer ends with Doctor Strange saying that it's trying to come through and I can't stop him. And within this, like this means that Tobey and Andrew Spider-Man, and that's where they could come in, and probably in this final battle. And so yeah, like Tobey and Andrew Spider-Man are coming, just not in the trailer, but in the movie itself. So yeah, within this new trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, I thought it was amazing. It gave us the first look of the villains, the Sinister Five, even though not the Sinister Six, and Spider-Man actually fighting them. And we actually tell that this movie is gonna be a dark one. Like this movie is gonna be like a dark one in the Spider-Man trilogy, since it's the last Spider-Man movie in the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, and this is gonna be dark. And plus, there are gonna be some people dying, people that are close to Peter are probably gonna die in this movie as well. I mean, there's like so much at stake, like so many possibilities that I could have in this movie, and with like villains coming in from each other universes, and well the Easter eggs that were in this trailer. And from what we can tell, this movie is gonna be epic, like big, and like none other in this next Spider-Man movie. And I'm glad that they had Tobey and Andrew and all the big surprises like from the trailer, and seeing them from the movie itself. And this is gonna be like a big movie, and I can't wait to see it when the movie does come out. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Love the thoughts in the comments down below, and what are your thoughts of the new Spider-Man trailer, and how excited are you for Spider-Man No Way Home to be finally releasing in theaters, only a couple more weeks away. Love your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell for future videos, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.